Hello, my starlings. Welcome to another episode. I believe this is episode, is it 3? Is it 4? I can't count, apparently. But I do welcome you unto this witch's perspective on, drumroll please, gratitude. Quite honestly, we are going down the happy road of gratitude, following on from last week's exciting exploration of time through the perspective of yesterme and, well, a little bit of moro-me. And what I realized afterwards is that it really comes down to gratitude. So if you're crazy and willing to stick with me, then come on into my witch's perspective on this particular topic. I am by Phoenix, the Abysmal Witch, and it is my insanity and my pleasure to provide all you amazing people and stardust embodied creatures and wonders with whatever it is that is going to come out of the insanity of my brain. Yes, it's been that kind of long day because yesterday was Cancer check-in day, and I am clear, but Cancer check-in day does a number on me, no lie. Probably makes sense to me, actually, that I'm going back down a road of gratitude, because I feel like I did not actually understand gratitude, not truly, not in that deep, visceral, in the bone and flesh and blood kind of way, until I had cancer. And people, in particular, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I was grateful and a lot of great people at the time in all of my worlds, but it was the outpouring of love from the people I worked with that really just hit me and made it such a difference in how I was feeling and my ability to actually feel gratitude. Until then, I'm not sure that I really understood gratitude in that deep and visceral way. Visceral being of your viscera, no, your internal organs kind of stuff. So really feeling it in that deep sensing, body sensing kind of way. And so let's get into why was I even thinking of it? Well, as you may recall from last week's episode, and I feel like I'm doing a little bit of the old Batman TV show, or that era of TV shows, when last we left our heroes, they were trapped atop the 50 story, who knows, but it has that kind of feeling for me. When last I was with you talking, I was sharing with you how I started working with the concept of yesterme as a way to work through and past and then into my issues on doing things, particularly doing things in advance that would make my life better, but I really don't want to do them in the moment. And that lack, and I don't feel like I really got into what that kind of, how that plays through, how this works. You know, it was like what it was, but not how it worked. And that is the gratitude factor. So when working with yesterme and leaning into it, there is now, in this moment, as I reflect back to yesterme, who is smart enough to take the afternoon off after the cancer appointment, way to go yesterme, that it's really critical in that acknowledgement. Sorry, passing a bus. Oh my God, clouds. It's really critical to bring in the quality of gratitude to our past selves, for our past selves, for the actions that were taken by our past selves. It is very easy to get down on yesterme. Oh my goodness, to beat ourselves up about it. But to feel the gratitude for ourselves, for what we have done in the past to help bring us to a better future, that is the critical piece that moves us from, well, it's a fun concept and a fun word, to how to actually use it to move forward, to create this sense of worth of doing something that I don't want to do in the moment but will advantage me later. Just hearing that it's going to advantage me later, that I'm going to appreciate it later, doesn't really kind of cut it. What I had to do was to feel the power of the gratitude in the now. I have to feel it now for what I did before, so that the next time I come in, when more of me comes into a moment that goes, hey, you know, if I did that thing, that would make my life easier even further down the road. The further more of me would be actually extra happy. Well, why should I care? If that future me never gives a shit about what past me did, why should I care about doing something nice for it? And that's the important part, that we have to feel appreciation, deep appreciation and gratitude for the choice that we made before, for the yester us who actually made that effort and did this thing to improve our life now. My life is better today because yesterday I made the harder choice. Okay, admittedly, taking an afternoon off work is not the harder choice. Going through with going to the regular checkups, however, that is a choice, and I can say that it is not a particularly fun one, and one that I would probably cheerfully skip out on, except from the fact that making sure I don't get cancer again is too high up there. So perhaps not the best example, but still, the critical point is the feeling of the gratitude. So with that, I feel like it kind of nicely wrapped up, completed, gave an additional important component to last week and yesterme, and how to make that actively work. So let's take a little bit of a deeper dive, shall we? Ooh, glug, glug, glug. I'm very strange today. Into gratitude. As I mentioned, I was not okay. Well, it's not that I wasn't okay with gratitude. It just didn't, it was like a sound I couldn't hear, a taste I couldn't taste, a flavor I couldn't taste, a smell I couldn't, a scent I couldn't smell. Sorry, I'm trying to get my words right there. As if I was a little bit blind to it, you know, like appreciation, sure, but gratitude, what is this? And do I even have anything to say on it? Well, that's a fascinating thing. Well, in case I don't, let's just say, hey, great short episode, everybody. Thanks for being here. Moving on out. In case I need to cut later, because it turns out that I have nothing to add to the commentary on gratitude. But let's try it. Let's see what happens. What comes out of me when asked about gratitude? Well, yeah, that was dead air right there. It's because there feels like there's this quality in the world that says we should understand gratitude. You know, be grateful to your parents for giving you life. Be grateful for all the advantages that you've had. Be grateful for your privilege. These are easy words. And I guess that's where I always got caught up is, you know, easy words, kind of easy concept, you know, like I said, appreciation wasn't that hard. I'm like, yeah, I really do appreciate the privilege that I have. You know, growing up, I would say somewhere between lower and solid middle class, perhaps. But growing up in North America, as a identified white person, I grew up cis, even though that turned out to be maybe not so much the case, as it turned out. But still, there was privilege all the way along, and still is, and I do have gratitude for that privilege. Well, appreciation, and appreciation for the gifts that I've received. You know, we talk about that a lot, right? You should have gratitude for the gifts that you've received. But what does that mean? That's where I struggled, because it was a very heady experience. And the fact is, gratitude is one of those somatic things. So backing up for just a moment to go, hey, somatic, what am I talking about? Soma, in the, I do believe, Latin, means living body. And so when we talk about soma, we're talking about the living body versus, say, psyche, which would be more about the mind. So, you know, like psychosomatic, it's happening in the body because of stuff that's happening in the mind. Somatic processing, somatic work, something that's been really big for some period of time now, and something that I've also dived into primarily through the work of Smart Body, Smart Mind, and Irene Lyon. Oh, left turn lane for them. How lucky. And I consider the connection into our soma very important. Probably an episode all on that one. Stay tuned for next week's shining episode when we talk about the soma. It's important. So soma, living body, it's about being in the body. Body I find is just too concrete of a word, not enough life in it. So I prefer to talk about the soma. And gratitude, I think, is something that needs to be somatically experienced to have any real meaning. When we talk about it, like as a concept, sure, get it, concept, but until you feel it, until it is something that has resonance inside of you, it remains just this concept that doesn't propel you anywhere. It doesn't change anything. So how do we get to a place of feeling gratitude? Well, if you're me and really blind and stubborn about things, you get cancer. People give you unquestionable and amazing support and love and care that you would not have asked for or expected. And suddenly that sensation cracks open inside of you and you have a beautiful meltdown of crying, because there's bad, ugly, not bad, but ugly meltdowns of crying, and then there's beautiful meltdowns. And this was definitely a beautiful meltdown because it was like the ice melting in my heart. If you want to go a little bit with the old Ice Queen story, which I really loved growing up, and that there is an animated version that I do believe Sigourney Weaver does the voice of the storyteller, the narrator, or the Snow Queen, but that is neither here nor there when it comes to gratitude. Righto. So gratitude. That was how it broke open for me. And just, there is, I think, and it's funny to say I think when it comes to something that has to be experienced, but I think there is at least for me, there was this feeling of love, allowing love to come in, but more than that, it was the gift that I was given, and recognizing it for the gift that it was, loving that gift and appreciating it, and all of these things tied into the feeling of gratitude of, I have been gifted with something precious, and I am feeling in my body, in my heart and soul, what that gift is and how that gift changes me, and how that gift is giving me something greater even than what it just immediately appears to give, that is giving me, propelling me into my future with more than I had before, and that the feeling itself opened up more. There was no expectation. I think that's probably a critical component. If you're expecting something and then given it, are you grateful? I don't know. I mean, this is a realm I haven't overly thought about, to be honest. Felt? Yes. Been working on the feeling of it. So touching into the feeling has become important. And you've probably heard about journaling for gratitude. I do a gratitude word of the day, which really is a concept word. I'm using one word to capture potentially an array of feeling or experience or sensation, and I'm picking one thing for the day. And I have an additional thought and plan of something which I've sort of explored trying a bit, but I haven't actually gotten to a place where I think it'll work. Still a cool idea though. I will share in a minute. Oh, there's a different way I could go with it. Still thinking. Okay, moving on. Sorry, things got a little weird there in the brain there. Can you tell? So with my process, these days I'm journaling in the morning. I used to journal in the evening, and I would just feel into the day and go, what am I grateful for? What brings that just so thankful that that was present for me. So giving thanks, again, an easier word for whatever reason to get a gratefulness for me. Sometimes I just gotta go a little sideways when things seem extra difficult in being present for me. So yes, what am I just, because that thing, that experience was in my life today, my life was made better for it. That's what gratitude, I guess, is for me. And so I note that thing down, and I've been doing that for, I think, 3 years now. And this is where I'm going to tell you the little side thing, and then I'm probably going to call it quits with that, because I don't think I have anything more substantive to add to this commentary. And my cool thing is this. Taking the words. So I've taken those gratitude words from the last 3 years with their dates, because, I like my data to be accurate and useful in the application thereof. And sorry, distraction, traffic, back with you. So those words are now in the computer. One big file, the whole dates. And what my original intention was to take them and make a word cloud, one of those word cloud things, but in a shape, because you can do that. You can pick shapes that things are in, so that I could, the year that I got Potion, my dog, maybe the word cloud is in the shape of a dog, and doing it for that year. And the words, and then allowing, of course, the words that were used most often would be like nice and big, and then having this shirt that has all of my gratitude for that year literally emblazoned over my heart. Come on, that is cool, right? To be able to have all of those notations then gathered and then become not just something that happened and in that moment, but it's very important. A little bit more time travel in there for you. It's very important to how do we then take it forward with us? How do we do something more with it? How do we take that reflection and integrate it into our future? Well, like I said, I was thinking of making the t-shirts, because I have a Cricut machine, which is a cutting printer for those who are not in the know. And you can do your own iron on things. My only concern, it turned out, is that some of those lines are going to be like super small because of the letters, or the words. It was a single word and the letters be small. And I really don't know that would actually translate well. I think I might just lose some of the words, unfortunately, which makes me sad. But I've not fully given up on it, and what I had realized as I was chatting with you, so thank you for being present with me through this, is that I could, if that doesn't work, I can take them and I can print them out and put them in a framed object, and thereby have them still in a place that I can enjoy. Not quite as cool as wearing them on a shirt over the heart, but still pretty darn awesome in its own way. Right, so that is me and my take on gratitude, which is the important thing that we need in order for stitching ourselves through time in a really beautiful and healthy way with working with yesterme and tomorrow me, which was from the last episode. Take great care of yourselves, my darlings, my starlings, my wondrous fellow creatures upon this beautiful terra that we have been granted the gift of life on. Now, that isn't something to have gratitude for. I do not know what is. Take great care of yourself, my loves. Blessed be.